Now this is what I came to this trail for. Hey there hikers, Adam Hoyt here and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever heard that age-old question, are you a mountain person or a beach person? You might all think that I would answer that I'm a mountain person based on all my love of hiking and all these videos I've been making, but here I am proposing, could you actually be both? What if we took a favorite mountain activity and brought it to the beach? Well, hopefully we'll be able to answer that this week as we take our hike all the way down to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. We're going to be walking along the beach as we explore Great Island in the town of Wellfleet. Specifically, the exact trail we'll be checking out is the Great Island Extended Trail. Hopefully it'll be fun. It'll definitely be a little bit different. But hey, that's enough explanation. Something doesn't feel right. Something. Oh, I got it. There, now we're ready. Come on, everyone. Let's go get hiking. way down.
I made it. And it's not dark yet.
And welcome back. A little change of scenery compared to what you're usually seeing. That was the Great Island Extended Trail, located in Wellfleet, Massachusetts, down on Cape Cod. The trail is a 6.3-mile loop trail, and it was a lot of fun. Spoiler alert for later, but this was just a really different trail than the ones I'm used to doing, and it was kind of invigorating. But let me jump into the guide here. So the Great Island Extended Trail, it starts off from the parking lot. You walk through the trees a little bit as you make your way down to the waterfront. There's a little stairs you go down, and you make it onto it's like a little marshland right next to an inlet, and then we walk around past some of the big Cape Cod houses till we get to the fork in the road, and this is where you get to choose if you're going to do the Great Island Trail clockwise or counterclockwise. I chose to do it counterclockwise, so I took the trail to my right and went off up over the dunes onto the actual Cape Cod Seashore. It was really cool. Off to my right, I could see all the way to Provincetown. There it is, Cape Cod. I don't know if you can see it, but right out there is the end of Cape Cod, Provincetown. See it just, I can't see. There it is, right over here. Off to the left, I could see down the rest of Great Island, and I could see in the distance part of the southern portion of Cape Cod. It was a really kind of a cool view. So the reason I would recommend doing the trail in the counterclockwise method in which I did it was a good chunk of this portion, as you can see in the video, the early part of this trail is just beach walking. So some might consider that boring, but you go a couple miles just on the flat beach right as you would normally walking along the beach, and so that's very static, and so I figured that might be better for the beginning part of the trail, and you save some of the more interesting parts through the trees and on the island for the second half, because if you do that part first, you're just going to be walking slowly back along the beach, and that people might find that boring. But so I would recommend doing it in a counterclockwise fashion like I did. The dunes start a little bit small, but then as you're getting close to the end of Great Island, they get to get actually quite large as we get near the southern tip, and it's really cool to see them up close. It was very peaceful the day I did it, hearing the waves as I was walking along the beach. seeing the shells, a little bit of wildlife here and there. But once you make it all the way down that part of the beach, this is where technically the trail veers off to the left, and this is where you get to make your choice. Are you just gonna do the extended trail, or something I'm gonna talk about later is what I would call the Adam Hoyt Super Deluxe Extended Trail, which would include adding the sand spit. So if the tide is low enough, you can pass where the trail officially turns to the left, and you could just keep heading straight down the beach as far as it'll let you go. If the tide is out, you can walk what I would call this part the sand spit. You can just keep walking for miles. I went much farther than the regular trail would suggest, and actually on the map it shows I walked into the blue section of the water because the tide was out, and I just walked all the way down the sand spit to the very tip of the end until I couldn't go any farther, and I found that really cool. Quick got my footage and then made my way back quickly so that I wouldn't get stranded as the tide started coming in. Following the sand spit all the way back to the regular part of the island, a very important note here, I would stay veered to the left as you're coming back along the sand spit, because on the right side of the beach as you're walking back towards the rest of Great Island, it becomes kind of marshy and not beachy, and you could get stranded amongst little inlets of water. Versus if you stay to the left, you will stay on the beach and you won't get stuck in swampy, muddy, murky waters. And from here we continue back onto the first little island. This one's a little smaller, it has a few pine trees on it. You go around the backside, there was a little discarded boat, and this is where the trail snuck into the pine trees, and they were like, they're technically pine trees, but I haven't seen any pine trees like that. I don't know where they're from. Maybe they're just local to the Cape, but they were very cool looking, very twisted and wriggly. I don't know if that's because they get so much windy weather down at the Cape that twists them in such weird patterns, but it was very cool walking through that forest, very unlike some of the other forests, say in New Hampshire or other parts of New England. It's a very short section of trail here, and once we pop out on the other side, we enter the section of the trail I would call the dunes section, and you go up and down several sand dunes along the little neck of the island as we make our way back towards the other larger of the two more islandy sections. From here, you'll get to the end of those sand dunes, walk back around that island and head up directly onto that island. The trail is very obvious where it goes up into the trees, and you'll eventually hit a fork in the trail. I found it rather quite easily because there was a downed tree at the exact spot where the fork happened, which was kind of funny. But if you were to go straight, you would be doing the regular Great Island Trail, and if you go to the right, you'd be following the Great Island Extended Trail. I would recommend this because it gives you some of the great cliff views, because on this second part of the island, you're the highest up and it brings you right to the edges, so you can see some really great views of the rest of Great Island. And there's various different lookout points along the way. The trail doesn't always go to the edge of the cliff, but it is close enough that you can clearly see where other people have walked and go get different views along the way, so I'd highly recommend doing that. Kind of meanders its way around the rest of the big part of the island until we descend back down onto that original sand dune neck that we started the trail on. You make your way around the bay through the last bit of sand dunes, and then we've made it back to the marsh and the trail that led us back up to the parking lot. So notes for this trail. There's no real elevation gain to speak of. Alltrails app said it was like 200 feet elevation gain, but that's like over the course of the whole route, because you're not really going up mountains. It's mostly a beach walk the whole time. The islands are a little bit more elevated, so that's where you get a few hundred feet of gain, but no real elevation gain to speak of. So there are a few other routes for this trail that you can take. There is the regular Great Island Trail, which is a little bit shorter version of the extended trail that I described originally. It is a few miles shorter. I'm flashing it up on the screen now, and it just doesn't include the rest of the cliff walk that the Great Island Extended Trail does. And then added on top of that is what I'm calling Adam's Great Island Extended Super Deluxe Trail version, which obviously includes walking as far out as you can along the sand spit, which isn't part of the official trail, but very fun to do either way, and it'll add significant miles onto your Great Island Extended Trail total. So I found the trail very not busy, but I think that was just a factor of the time of year that I chose to do it. So if you go hike this trail in the off season like I did here in November, very unbusy, definitely easy to do. You won't have anyone bothering you the whole time, but I can imagine this trail being very popular in the regular Cape Cod high season in the summer months. So think about that if you're just interested in a hike, maybe try it in the off season. One of the things that makes this trail quite interesting is there's just various different wildlife that you can see along the way. I saw a lot of different seabirds. I've been told that you can see various crabs during the right time of season, and I even saw a seal as I walked far out onto the sand spit. So if you walk on the sand spit, you might be able to see seals and other wildlife that you might not otherwise see. And the most important note that you all should know is, because this is a beach walk, wear the right type of shoes or just be prepared Sand gets in your shoes, especially during the sand dune portion. I got a freaking so much sand in my shoes. It was literally hurting to walk, but I trudged through it a little bit till I got to the end of the sand so that it wouldn't just keep happening again. I had to empty my shoes, I think 3 to 4 times for how much sand I got in there. I think there's still sand in it. I gotta shake them out still, but watch out for that. It could get a little uncomfortable, but you know, some people could do this one barefoot if they wanted to, especially during the right weather. So think about that. So a difficulty rating for this trail. You know, I'm gonna go with my easiest ranking. I'm gonna say this was a walk in the woods. The majority of the trail is just walking along the beach, and there's no elevation gain. There's no technical portions. I'm doubling down. I'm gonna say easiest one, a walk in the woods. Now, granted, if you do the Adam Great Island Trail Super Deluxe version, you're adding a lot of miles, so I'm sure that you could add to your difficulty if you wanted to based on just how far you want to go, but especially if you just do the Great Island Trail, which is the shortest version. Definitely a walk in the woods. And now for my final review. I don't think it's a surprise. I highly recommend this trail. It was so different. It was interesting. Definitely in the off season, you can get it to yourself. I had so much fun walking along the beach, just seeing the variety, hearing the crashing of the waves as I walked. Was so relaxing. It was just the right kind of trail that I needed at this time of year. So I would highly recommend you to come check out Great Island Extended Trail in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. But hey, that's just my opinion. What did you think of this trail? An ocean hike, I don't think a lot of people were really expecting that. So let me know what you thought of this very untraditional hike that I did in those comments down below. If you're interested in checking out this trail yourself, I of course included a link to a custom Alltrails map that I made for all the various versions of the trail that you could do, and that is in the description down below, as well as links to all the gear that I used to make this video possible. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, be sure to turn on that bell for notifications so that you don't miss another one of my latest videos. That's it for me though. I'll catch you in the next one.
Seriously, it might be one of the most relaxing hikes I've ever been on.
Hey, I'm walking here. Come on.
These trees look like they're straight out of Lord of the Rings.
Sand is so much harder.
My shoes are full of so much freaking sand. I have finally emptied the sand from my shoes, and I am much, much better. Looney Tunes back in action.